Question 1. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. Gathering and evaluating evidence in surplus lines claims. Which of the following best describes the appropriate approach to gathering and evaluating evidence in surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii? A. Rely primarily on the statements of the insured to gather evidence as they have first-hand knowledge of the incident. B. Focus on obtaining physical evidence such as photos, repair estimates, and police reports and compare these against policy provisions. C. Utilize third-party investigators exclusively as they provide unbiased evaluations of the evidence. D. Only gather evidence that supports denying the claim to protect the insurer's interests. Answer. B. Focus on obtaining physical evidence such as photos, repair estimates, and police reports and compare these against policy provisions. Explanation. The correct approach to gathering and evaluating evidence in surplus lines insurance claims involves a thorough and objective collection of all relevant information. This includes physical evidence such as photos, repair estimates, and police reports, which can be directly compared against policy provisions to determine coverage. Relying solely on the insured's statements, option A, can introduce bias, while using only third-party investigators, option C, can be unnecessarily costly and may not always be feasible. Gathering evidence only to deny claims, option D, is unethical and violates fair claims practices. In Hawaii, as in other states, insurers must adhere to principles of fair and thorough investigation as mandated by state regulations. Question 2. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement, settlement options and alternatives. Which of the following is not a common alternative to traditional settlement methods in surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii? A. Mediation, where a neutral third party assists in reaching a voluntary agreement. B. Arbitration, where a neutral third party renders a binding decision after hearing both sides. C. Litigation, where the dispute is resolved through the court system. D. Negotiated settlement, where parties reach an agreement without third party involvement. Answer. C. Litigation, where the dispute is resolved through the court system. Explanation. Litigation is not considered an alternative to traditional settlement methods, rather it is a formal process used when other methods fail. Mediation, option A, and arbitration, option B, are alternative dispute resolution methods that can often resolve claims more quickly and with less expense than litigation. Negotiated settlement, option D, is another common method where parties directly negotiate to resolve the claim without third-party involvement. Hawaii, like other states, encourages the use of a DR to avoid the higher costs and longer timelines associated with litigation. Question 3. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims ethics, confidentiality and privacy requirements in surplus lines claims. Scenario: MS. Garcia is handling a surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii involving a significant property loss. During the investigation, she received sensitive, personal information about the insured, Mr. Thompson, which is not directly related to the claim but was provided as part of a broader set of documents. How should MS. Garcia handle this information? A. Include all the information in the claim file to ensure comprehensive documentation. B. Discard any information that is not directly related to the claim to maintain focus. C. Keep the information confidential and only use it to the extent necessary for the claim. D. Share the information with all relevant parties to expedite the claims process. Answer. C. Keep the information confidential and only use it to the extent necessary for the claim. Explanation. Confidentiality and privacy requirements in surplus lines claims handling mandate that sensitive, personal information be protected and used only to the extent necessary for processing the claim. Including all information in the claim file, option A, risks breaching privacy laws, while discarding it, option B, may result in incomplete documentation. Sharing sensitive information unnecessarily, option D, is a violation of confidentiality standards. In Hawaii, insurance professionals must adhere to both state and federal privacy regulations, such as the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, which requires the safeguarding of personal data. Question 4. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. Interpreting policy language and exclusions. When interpreting policy language and exclusions in surplus lines insurance policies in Hawaii, which principle is most often applied to resolve ambiguities? A. Contra pro forentum, which interprets ambiguities in favor of the insurer. B. Contra pro forentum, which interprets ambiguities in favor of the insured. C. Strict construction, which interprets the policy strictly according to its literal terms. D. Reasonable expectations, which interprets the policy according to what an average policyholder would reasonably expect. Answer: B. Contra proferentum, which interprets ambiguities in favor of the insured. Explanation: the principle of contra proferentum is applied to resolve ambiguities in insurance policies by interpreting any unclear or ambiguous language in favor of the insured, not the insurer. Option A. This approach helps protect policyholders who did not draft the policy language. Strict construction, option C, and reasonable expectations, option D, are also principles used in interpreting insurance policies, but contra proferentum specifically addresses ambiguities in favor of the insured. In Hawaii, as in other states, this principle is crucial in ensuring that insured parties receive fair treatment when policy language is not clear. Question 5. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation, interviewing insureds, witnesses, and other parties involved in the claim. In the context of surplus lines insurance claims investigations in Hawaii, what is the best practice for conducting interviews with insureds and witnesses? A. Interview witnesses first, then insureds to avoid bias. B. Conduct interviews in a formal setting with legal representation present. C. Prepare a list of specific questions but remain flexible to follow up on new information. D. Use a written questionnaire to ensure consistency in responses. Answer: C. Prepare a list of specific questions but remain flexible to follow up on new information. Explanation: the best practice for conducting interviews during a claims investigation involves preparing a list of specific questions while remaining flexible to follow up on new information that may arise during the interview. This approach allows for thorough and effective information gathering. Interviewing witnesses first, option A, might prevent bias but is not always practical. Conducting interviews in a formal setting with legal representation, option B, is not necessary unless the situation warrants it. Using a written questionnaire, option D, can be helpful for consistency but lacks the flexibility needed for a comprehensive investigation. In Hawaii, as in other states, effective claims investigations rely on thorough and adaptable interviewing techniques. Question 6. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims settlement, negotiating and reaching a settlement agreement. Scenario: Mr. Bennett is handling a surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii involving a commercial property loss. During settlement negotiations, the insured Ms. Lee presents additional documentation that supports a higher settlement amount than initially estimated. How should Mr. Bennett proceed? A. Reject the new documentation as it was not part of the original claim submission. B. Immediately agree to the higher settlement amount to expedite the process. C. Review the additional documentation and adjust the settlement offer if justified. D. Refer the matter to legal counsel to determine the validity of the new documentation. Answer: C. Review the additional documentation and adjust the settlement offer if justified. Explanation: Mr. Bennett should review the additional documentation provided by Ms. Lee and adjust the settlement offer if the new information justifies a higher amount. Rejecting the new documentation outright, option A, could result in an unfair settlement and potential disputes. Immediately agreeing to the higher amount, option B, without review may lead to overpayment and other issues. Referring the matter to legal counsel, option D, is not necessary unless there are significant concerns about the documentation's validity. In Hawaii, fair claims practices require that all relevant information be considered to ensure equitable settlements. Question 7. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation, reserving and estimating claim costs. Which of the following is a key factor in accurately reserving and estimating claim costs in surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii? A. Only the initial estimates provided by the insured should be considered to avoid over-reserving. B. Regularly updating the reserves as new information becomes available. C. Setting reserves based on industry averages rather than specific claim details. D. Keeping reserves confidential and not communicating them to relevant stakeholders. Answer: B. Regularly updating the reserves as new information becomes available. Explanation: accurately reserving and estimating claim costs requires regularly updating the reserves as new information becomes available. This ensures that the reserves reflect the most current understanding of the claim's potential cost. Relying solely on initial estimates, option A, or industry averages, option C, can lead to inaccuracies. Keeping reserves confidential, option D, is important to a degree, but relevant stakeholders such as senior management and regulatory authorities should be informed as necessary. In Hawaii, like other states, insurers must adhere to regulations that promote accurate and timely reserve practices to maintain financial stability and regulatory compliance. Question 8. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. Understanding the litigation process in surplus lines claims. What is a primary consideration for a surplus lines insurance company in Hawaii when deciding whether to litigate a claim? A. The availability of a favorable judge in the jurisdiction. B. The cost-effectiveness compared to alternative dispute resolution methods. C. The potential for setting a legal precedent. D. The complexity of the policy language involved in the claim. Answer. B. The cost-effectiveness compared to alternative dispute resolution methods. Explanation. When deciding whether to litigate a claim, a primary consideration for a surplus lines insurance company is the cost-effectiveness compared to alternative dispute resolution methods. Litigation can be expensive and time-consuming, so evaluating whether a DR, such as mediation or arbitration, would be more efficient and less costly is crucial. The availability of a favorable judge, option A, and the potential for setting a legal precedent, option C, and secondary considerations. The complexity of the policy language, option D, may impact the litigation process but is not the primary factor in the decision to litigate. In Hawaii, insurers must consider the most efficient and effective means of resolving claims while complying with regulatory requirements. Question 9. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims ethics handling conflicts of interest in surplus lines claims handling scenario. MS. Jenkins is an adjuster handling a surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii. During the investigation, she discovers that the claimant, Mr. O'Connor, is a close friend of her supervisor, MS. Jenkins is concerned that this relationship might influence the claim handling process. How should she proceed? A. Ignore the relationship and handle the claim as usual to avoid unnecessary complications. B. Discuss the situation with her supervisor and seek their guidance on how to proceed. C. Request reassignment of the claim to another adjuster to avoid any potential conflict of interest. D. Handle the claim more favorably towards Mr. O'Connor to maintain good relations within the company. Answer. C. Request reassignment of the claim to another adjuster to avoid any potential conflict of interest. Explanation. MS. Jenkins should request reassignment of the claim to another adjuster to avoid any potential conflict of interest. Ignoring the relationship, option A, could compromise the integrity of the claims handling process. Discussing the situation with her supervisor, option B, might not resolve the conflict and could create further issues. Handling the claim more favorably towards Mr. O'Connor, option D, is unethical and violates professional standards. In Hawaii, like in other states, ethical considerations and the avoidance of conflicts of interest are crucial in maintaining the integrity and fairness of the claims process. Adjusters must adhere to professional standards and regulations that mandate impartiality and transparency. Question 10. Surplus lines insurance claims process. Compliance with regulatory requirements in surplus lines claims handling. Which of the following is a regulatory requirement specific to handling surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii? A. Claims must be settled within 30 days of being reported. B. All claims must be handled by a licensed surplus lines broker. C. Claims adjusters must maintain detailed documentation of all communications and actions taken during the claims process. D. Claims must be reviewed by the Hawaii Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs before settlement. Answer. C. Claims adjusters must maintain detailed documentation of all communications and actions taken during the claims process. Explanation. In Hawaii, as in other states, maintaining detailed documentation of all communications and actions taken during the claims process is a crucial regulatory requirement for handling surplus lines insurance claims. This ensures transparency, accountability, and the ability to review the claims process if disputes arise. The requirement to settle claims within a specific time frame, option A, varies by state and policy terms, but 30 days is not a specific mandate in Hawaii for surplus lines. While surplus lines brokers must be licensed, option B, claims handling can be performed by adjusters who do not necessarily need to be surplus lines brokers. The requirement for claims to be reviewed by the State Department, option D, is not standard practice, as the department may get involved in oversight and regulation but not in individual claim reviews before settlement. Question 11. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation, determining coverage and liability in surplus lines claims. When determining coverage and liability in surplus lines claims in Hawaii, which of the following factors is most critical? A. The insured's financial status and ability to pay premiums. B. The presence of any prior claims filed by the insured. C. The specific policy language and endorsements relevant to the claim. D. The insured's history of interactions with the insurer. Answer. C. The specific policy language and endorsements relevant to the claim. Explanation. The most critical factor in determining coverage and liability in surplus lines claims is the specific policy language and endorsements relevant to the claim. This includes carefully reviewing the terms, conditions, exclusions, and any endorsements that may modify coverage. The insured's financial status, option A, and prior claims history, option B, can provide context but are not determinative of coverage for a particular claim. The insured's history of interactions with the insurer, option D, may be relevant in assessing the claims handling but does not directly affect the determination of coverage and liability. In Hawaii, as in other jurisdictions, adherence to the precise terms of the policy is essential in the fair and accurate determination of claims. Question 12. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims ethics. Ethical considerations in surplus lines claims handling. Scenario. Mr. Lewis is handling a surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii involving significant damage to a commercial property. During the investigation, he discovers that a critical piece of evidence, which could potentially favor the insured's claim, was inadvertently excluded from the initial report. How should Mr. Lewis proceed? A. Ignore the missing evidence since it was not included in the initial report. B. Include the evidence in the claim file and reassess the claim accordingly. C. Inform the insured that the evidence was excluded and ask them to resubmit the claim. D. Continue with the claims process as if the evidence was not discovered. Answer. B. Include the evidence in the claim file and reassess the claim accordingly. Explanation. Mr. Lewis should include the newly discovered evidence in the claim file and reassess the claim accordingly. Ignoring the evidence, option A, or continuing as if it was not discovered, option D, would be unethical and could result in an unfair claims decision. Informing the insured to resubmit the claim, option C, is unnecessary and could delay the resolution process. Ethical considerations in claims handling require that all relevant information be considered to ensure a fair and just outcome. In Hawaii, as elsewhere, insurance professionals must adhere to ethical standards that promote integrity, transparency, and fairness in the claims process. Question 13. Surplus lines insurance claims process. Roles and responsibilities of key stakeholders in surplus lines claims handling. Who is primarily responsible for ensuring that a surplus lines insurance claim complies with regulatory requirements in Hawaii? A. The insured. B. The claims adjuster. C. The surplus lines broker. D. The insurance underwriter. Answer. B. The claims adjuster. Explanation. The claims adjuster is primarily responsible for ensuring that the surplus lines insurance claim complies with regulatory requirements in Hawaii. This includes adhering to state-specific regulations, maintaining accurate documentation, and ensuring that the claims process is conducted fairly and transparently, while the insured, option A, is responsible for providing accurate information, and the surplus lines broker, option C, ensures that the policy is properly placed and meets regulatory requirements. The claims adjuster is the one who oversees the compliance of the claims process itself. The insurance underwriter, option D, is responsible for assessing risk and underwriting the policy but does not handle claims compliance directly. In Hawaii, regulatory compliance is critical in protecting consumer rights and ensuring fair claims handling practices. Question 14. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. Providing documentation and evidence during litigation. In the context of surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Hawaii, what is the best practice for providing documentation and evidence? A. Provide only the documentation that supports the insurer's position. B. Ensure that all relevant documentation, both supportive and adverse, is disclosed. C. Rely solely on digital copies of documents to streamline the process. D. Submit documentation selectively based on the legal counsel's advice. Answer. B. Ensure that all relevant documentation, both supportive and adverse, is disclosed. Explanation: the best practice for providing documentation and evidence during surplus lines insurance claims litigation is to ensure that all relevant documentation, both supportive and adverse, is disclosed. This transparency is necessary to comply with legal and ethical standards and to ensure a fair trial. Providing only supportive documentation, option A, or selectively submitting documents based on legal counsel's advice, option D, can lead to accusations of bad faith and may violate discovery rules. Relying solely on digital copies, option C, may not be sufficient if original or hard copies are required. In Hawaii, like other states, insurers are required to act in good faith and disclose all pertinent information during litigation to uphold the integrity of the judicial process. Question 15. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims settlement, releasing and documenting settlement agreements. Scenario: MS. Nguyen is handling a surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii and has reached a settlement agreement with the insured, Mr. Roberts, for a significant property damage claim. What steps should MS Nguyen take to ensure the settlement agreement is properly documented and released? A. Verbally agree on the settlement terms with Mr. Roberts and note it in the claim file. B. Prepare a written settlement agreement, have both parties sign it, and distribute copies to all relevant parties. C. Send an email confirmation of the settlement terms to Mr. Roberts and close the claim. D. Call Mr. Roberts to confirm it. Answer: B. Prepare a written settlement agreement, have both parties sign it, and then distribute copies to all relevant parties. Explanation: MS. Nguyen should prepare a written settlement agreement, have both parties sign it, and then distribute copies to all relevant parties. This ensures that the terms of the settlement are clearly defined, legally binding, and properly documented. A verbal agreement, option A, or an email confirmation, option C, is insufficient for legal and record-keeping purposes, while documenting a phone call, option D, can be useful for clarification. It is not a substitute for a formal written agreement. In Hawaii, ensuring that settlement agreements are properly documented and executed is crucial for compliance with legal standards and to protect both parties' interests. Question 16. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. Methods for evaluating the extent and value of a claim. Which method is most appropriate for evaluating the extent and value of a commercial property loss claim in surplus lines insurance in Hawaii? A. Using only the initial damage estimates provided by the insured. B. Hiring an independent adjuster to assess the damage and provide an unbiased estimate. C. Relying solely on historical data and industry averages for similar claims. D. Waiting for the court to determine the value of the claim. Answer: B. Hiring an independent adjuster to assess the damage and provide an unbiased estimate. Explanation: hiring an independent adjuster to assess the damage and provide an unbiased estimate is the most appropriate method for evaluating the extent and value of a commercial property loss claim. This approach ensures a fair and objective evaluation, which is crucial for both the insurer and the insured. Relying only on the insured's estimates, option A, may lead to biased or inaccurate assessments. Using historical data and industry averages, option C, can be helpful but is not sufficient on its own. Waiting for a court decision, option D, is unnecessary and inefficient for the evaluation process. In Hawaii, independent adjusters provide valuable expertise and objectivity in claims evaluation, ensuring compliance with regulatory standards and fair claims practices. Question 17. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. Policy provisions and coverage limitations. In surplus lines insurance policies in Hawaii, what is the significance of a named perils policy? A. It covers all risks except those specifically excluded. B. It covers only the perils specifically listed in the policy. C. It provides broader coverage than an all risks policy. D. It automatically includes coverage for natural disasters. Answer: B. It covers only the perils specifically listed in the policy. Explanation: a named perils policy covers only the perils specifically listed in the policy. This type of policy explicitly identifies the risks that are covered, and any peril not listed is excluded. An all risks policy, option A, covers all perils except those specifically excluded, offering broader coverage. Named perils policies do not provide broader coverage than all risks policies, option C, and do not automatically include coverage for natural disasters unless those disasters are specifically named, option D. Understanding the limitations and specific provisions of A named perils policy is crucial for ensuring adequate coverage and compliance with regulatory standards in Hawaii. Question 18. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims investigation. Claims investigation techniques and best practices. Scenario. Mr. Wilson is investigating a surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii involving significant fire damage to a warehouse. During his investigation, he discovers discrepancies in the witness statements regarding the origin of the fire. How should Mr. Wilson proceed? A. Disregard the discrepancies and finalize the claim based on the initial report. B. Re-interview the witnesses to clarify the discrepancies and gather additional evidence. C. Assume the discrepancies indicate fraud and deny the claim. D. Submit the claim for immediate settlement to avoid further complications. Answer. B. Re-interview the witnesses to clarify the discrepancies and gather additional evidence. Explanation. Mr. Wilson should re-interview the witnesses to clarify the discrepancies and gather additional evidence. This approach ensures a thorough and accurate investigation, which is essential for determining the true origin of the fire and making an informed decision on the claim. Disregarding the discrepancies, option A, could result in an unjust outcome, while assuming fraud, option C, without further investigation, is premature and unethical. Settling the claim immediately, option D, to avoid complications can lead to improper handling of the claim and potential regulatory issues. In Hawaii, as in other jurisdictions, a comprehensive and meticulous investigation process is critical for ensuring fair and equitable claims resolution. Question 19. Surplus lines insurance claims process. Importance of effective communication and documentation in claims handling. Which of the following best describes the importance of effective communication and documentation in handling surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii? A. It helps reduce the workload of the claims adjuster. B. It ensures compliance with legal and regulatory requirements and promotes transparency. C. It allows for faster closure of claims without much scrutiny. D. It is mainly useful for internal audits and has little impact on the claims process. Answer. B. It ensures compliance with legal and regulatory requirements and promotes transparency. Explanation. Effective communication and documentation are crucial in handling surplus lines insurance claims as they ensure compliance with legal and regulatory requirements and promote transparency throughout the claims process. This practice helps maintain clear records of all actions taken, supports fair and equitable treatment of all parties, and provides a basis for resolving disputes, while reducing workload, option A, and allowing faster closure of claims, option C, can be secondary benefits. The primary importance lies in compliance and transparency. Effective communication and documentation are not limited to internal audits. Option D, they play a vital role in the overall integrity and efficiency of the claims process in Hawaii. Question 20. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Settlement options and alternatives. In surplus lines insurance claims settlement in Hawaii, what is a primary benefit of using mediation as an alternative dispute resolution method? A. It guarantees a higher settlement amount for the insured. B. It typically involves a faster resolution compared to litigation. C. It allows the insurer to avoid paying any claim amounts. D. It eliminates the need for any further negotiation. Answer. B. It typically involves a faster resolution compared to litigation. Explanation. Mediation as an ADR method is beneficial because it typically involves a faster resolution compared to litigation. This speed can save both parties time and legal expenses while reaching a mutually agreeable settlement. Mediation does not guarantee a higher settlement amount for the insured, option A, nor does it allow the insurer to avoid paying claims, option C. Additionally, mediation involves negotiation and compromise, option D, not the elimination of further negotiation. In Hawaii, as in other states, mediation provides an efficient and effective means of resolving disputes in surplus lines insurance claims. Question 21. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims ethics. Confidentiality and privacy requirements in surplus lines claims. Scenario. MS. Davis is handling a sensitive surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii that involves proprietary business information of the insured, Mr. Higa. During the claims process, MS. Davis is approached by a third party requesting details about the claim. How should MS. Davis proceed? A. Provide the third party with the requested information to ensure transparency. B. Deny the request and report the third party to regulatory authorities. C. Consult with her supervisor and legal counsel before responding to the request. D. Share only the non-sensitive parts of the claim information with the third party. Answer: C. Consult with her supervisor and legal counsel before responding to the request. Explanation: MS. Davis should consult with her supervisor and legal counsel before responding to the third party's request. This approach ensures that any action taken is compliant with confidentiality and privacy requirements and protects the proprietary business information of the insured. Providing the information to the third party, option A, could violate confidentiality agreements and legal standards. Denying the request and reporting the third party, option B, may not be necessary unless there is evidence of misconduct. Sharing non-sensitive parts of the information, option D, still risks breaching confidentiality without proper authorization. In Hawaii, strict adherence to confidentiality and privacy regulations is essential in handling surplus lines insurance claims ethically and legally. Question 22. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis, interpreting policy language and exclusions. Which principle is most critical when interpreting ambiguous language in a surplus lines insurance policy in Hawaii? A. The language should be interpreted strictly in favor of the insurer. B. The language should be interpreted in favor of the party that drafted the policy. C. The language should be interpreted in favor of the insured. D. The language should be interpreted based on industry standards. Answer: C. The language should be interpreted in favor of the insured. Explanation: when interpreting ambiguous language in an insurance policy, courts typically apply the principle of a contra pro forentum, which means that any ambiguity is interpreted in favor of the insured. This principle helps protect the policyholder from unclear or misleading language that they did not draft and ensures that the policy provides the coverage that the insured reasonably expects. Interpreting in favor of the insurer, option A, or the party that drafted the policy, option B, would be unfair to the insured. While industry standards, option D, can provide context, they do not override the principle of interpreting ambiguities in favor of the insured. In Hawaii, as elsewhere, this principle is crucial in maintaining fairness in insurance contracts. Question 23. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation, interviewing insureds, witnesses, and other parties involved in the claim. What is the best practice for an adjuster in Hawaii when interviewing witnesses to surplus lines insurance claim? A. Prepare a list of leading questions to guide the witnesses' responses. B. Record the interview to ensure accuracy and accountability. C. Rely on memory and notes taken during the interview without recording. D. Avoid discussing any discrepancies in witness statements to prevent confusion. Answer: B. Record the interview to ensure accuracy and accountability. Explanation: recording interviews with witnesses is a best practice in claims investigation as it ensures accuracy and accountability. This method provides a verbatim account of the witness statements, which can be critical in assessing the claim and resolving any disputes. Leading questions, option A, can bias the responses, while relying solely on memory and notes, option C, can lead to inaccuracies. Avoiding discussion of discrepancies, option D, does not help in resolving conflicting information. In Hawaii, as in other states, maintaining accurate and complete records of witness interviews is essential for a thorough and fair claims investigation process. Question 24. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims ethics. Professional standards and conduct for claims professionals. Scenario: Mr. Thompson is a claims adjuster handling a surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii. During the investigation, he realizes that a minor error in the initial assessment underestimated the repair costs. If corrected, this would increase the payout to the insured. MS. Lopez: what should Mr. Thompson do? A. Ignore the error to avoid additional work and complications. B. Inform MS. Lopez about the error and update the claim accordingly. C. Correct the error internally without informing MS. Lopez and keep the payout unchanged. D. Suggest MS. Lopez hires an independent appraiser to reassess the damage. Answer: B. Inform MS. Lopez about the error and update the claim accordingly. Explanation: Mr. Thompson should inform MS. Lopez about the error and update the claim accordingly. Ethical standards and professional conduct require transparency and honesty in claims handling. Ignoring the error, option A, or correcting it without informing the insured, option C, would be unethical and could lead to mistrust and potential legal issues. Suggesting an independent appraiser, option D, may help, but it is Mr. Thompson's responsibility to address the error directly. In Hawaii as elsewhere, claims professionals must adhere to high ethical standards to ensure fair treatment of insureds and maintain the integrity of the claims process. Question 25. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation, reserving and estimating claim costs. In Hawaii, what is the primary purpose of establishing a claim reserve for a surplus lines insurance claim? A. To guarantee the insured receives a fixed payout. B. To estimate the potential cost of the claim and ensure financial preparedness. C. To satisfy the insured's expectations regarding the claim amount. D. To expedite the claim settlement process. Answer: B. To estimate the potential cost of the claim and ensure financial preparedness. Explanation: establishing a claim reserve is primarily intended to estimate the potential cost of the claim and ensure that the insurer is financially prepared to meet its obligations. It involves setting aside funds to cover the expected payout, including indemnity and associated costs, ensuring that the insurer remains solvent and capable of handling claims. Guaranteeing a fixed payout, option A, or satisfying insured's expectations, option C, is not the objective of reserves, as the actual payout can vary. While proper reserving can aid in efficient claim settlement, expediting the process, option D, is not the primary purpose. In Hawaii, accurate reserving practices are critical for regulatory compliance and financial stability of insurers. Question 26. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Compliance with regulatory requirements in claims settlement. Which of the following is a regulatory requirement for settling surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii? A. All settlements must be approved by the Hawaii Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. B. Settlements must be documented in writing and communicated to all parties involved. C. The insurer must settle claims within 15 days of receipt. D. Only licensed attorneys can negotiate settlements. Answer: B. Settlements must be documented in writing and communicated to all parties involved. Explanation: a regulatory requirement for selling surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii is that all settlements must be documented in writing and communicated to all parties involved. This ensures transparency, accountability, and clarity regarding the terms of the settlement. Approval by the Hawaii Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs, option A, is not typically required for individual settlements. While timely settlement is important, there is no strict 15-day requirement, option C, for all claims. Licensed attorneys, option D, are not the only professionals who can negotiate settlements. Claims adjusters and other authorized representatives can also fulfill this role. Proper documentation is essential for compliance and protecting the interests of all parties. Question 27. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims investigation. Gathering and evaluating evidence in surplus lines claims. Scenario: MS. Johnson is investigating a surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii related to a hurricane-damaged commercial property. She discovers that the insured, Mr. Sanaka, did not disclose previous damage from a similar event 2 years ago. How should MS. Johnson proceed? A. Deny the claim based on non-disclosure of previous damage. B. Gather all relevant information about the previous damage and its repairs before making a decision. C. Ignore the previous damage since it was not disclosed initially. D. Immediately offer a low settlement to account for the undisclosed previous damage. Answer: B. Gather all relevant information about the previous damage and its repairs before making a decision. Explanation: MS. Johnson should gather all relevant information about the previous damage and its repairs before making a decision. This approach ensures a thorough and fair investigation, taking into account any potential impact of the previous damage on the current claim. Denying the claim outright, option A, or ignoring the previous damage, option C, would be premature and could lead to an unjust outcome. Offering a lower settlement immediately, option D, without full information is also inappropriate. In Hawaii, a comprehensive evaluation of all relevant facts is essential for making an informed and fair claims decision, ensuring compliance with regulatory standards and ethical practices. Question 28. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. Claims investigation techniques and best practices. What is the most critical step in ensuring a thorough and effective claims investigation for a surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii? A. Completing the investigation as quickly as possible to satisfy the insured. B. Conducting a detailed and systematic gathering of all relevant evidence. C. Relying on the initial report submitted by the insured. D. Outsourcing the investigation to a third-party firm. Answer: B. Conducting a detailed and systematic gathering of all relevant evidence. Explanation: the most critical step in ensuring a thorough and effective claims investigation is conducting a detailed and systematic gathering of all relevant evidence. This ensures that all aspects of the claim are evaluated comprehensively, which is essential for making an accurate and fair decision. Completing the investigation quickly, option A, should not compromise thoroughness. Relying solely on initial reports, option C, may result in incomplete information. Outsourcing, option D, can be helpful but must still follow a detailed and systematic approach. In Hawaii, a thorough investigation is crucial for compliance with regulatory requirements and maintaining the integrity of the claims process. Question 29. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Negotiating and reaching a settlement agreement. In Hawaii, what is an effective strategy for negotiating a surplus lines insurance claim settlement with an insured? A. Starting with a low offer to test the insured's willingness to settle. B. Being transparent about the claims process and the basis for the settlement offer. C. Refusing to negotiate and insisting on the initial offer. D. Agreeing to all the insured's demands to avoid litigation. Answer: B. Being transparent about the claims process and the basis for the settlement offer. Explanation: an effective strategy for negotiating a surplus lines insurance claim settlement is to be transparent about the claims process and the basis for the settlement offer. Transparency fosters trust and understanding, helping both parties reach a fair and reasonable agreement. Starting with a low offer, option A, can lead to mistrust and prolonged negotiations. Refusing to negotiate, option C, is not conducive to reaching an agreement. Agreeing to all demands, option D, may not be in the best interest of the insurer and can lead to unjust outcomes. In Hawaii, transparency and fairness are key principles in the negotiation process. Question 30. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims ethics. Ethical considerations in surplus lines claims handling. Scenario: Mr. Lee, a claims adjuster in Hawaii, discovers during his investigation that a third-party contractor involved in assessing damage has a personal relationship with the insured. What should Mr. Lee do to handle this situation ethically? A. Ignore the relationship and proceed with the contractor's assessment. B. Report the potential conflict of interest to his supervisor and seek guidance. C. Deny the claim based on the potential conflict of interest. D. Request that the insured select a different contractor without explanation. Answer: B. Report the potential conflict of interest to his supervisor and seek guidance. Explanation: Mr. Lee should report the potential conflict of interest to his supervisor and seek guidance on how to proceed. This approach ensures transparency and helps maintain the integrity of the claims handling process. Ignoring the relationship, option A, could compromise the investigation's objectivity. Denying the claim outright, option C, would be premature and unfair without further assessment. Requesting a different contractor without explanation, option D, does not address the underlying ethical issue. In Hawaii, handling conflicts of interest with transparency and seeking appropriate guidance are essential for maintaining ethical standards in claims handling. Question 31. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics. Handling conflicts of interest in surplus lines claims handling in Hawaii. What is the appropriate action for a claims adjuster who realizes they have a personal relationship with the insured whose claim they are handling? A. Continue handling the claim to maintain efficiency. B. Recuse themselves from the claim and notify their supervisor. C. Advise the insured to find a different claims adjuster. D. Proceed with the claim but disclose the relationship to the insurer. Answer: B. Recuse themselves from the claim and notify their supervisor. Explanation: the appropriate action for a claims adjuster in Hawaii who realizes they have a personal relationship with the insured is to recuse themselves from handling the claim and notify their supervisor. This ensures that there is no conflict of interest and maintains the integrity of the claims handling process. Continuing to handle the claim, option A, could compromise objectivity and fairness. Advising the insured to find a different adjuster, option C, does not address the conflict of interest from the adjuster's side, while disclosing the relationship, option D, is important. Recusal is generally the preferred course of action to avoid any perception of bias or impropriety in claims handling. Question 32. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. Understanding the litigation process in surplus lines claims. What is the role of legal counsel in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Hawaii? A. To delay the litigation process as much as possible. B. To represent the insurer's interests and provide legal advice. C. To settle claims without involving the court. D. To negotiate directly with the insured without legal proceedings. Answer: B. To represent the insurer's interests and provide legal advice. Explanation: the role of legal counsel in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Hawaii is to represent the insurer's interests and provide legal advice throughout the litigation process. This includes preparing legal defenses, negotiating settlements, and representing the insurer in court if necessary. Delaying litigation, option A, is not a primary function of legal counsel. Settling claims, option C, or negotiating directly, option D, without legal proceedings may occur, but legal counsel is involved when litigation is anticipated or underway. In Hawaii, legal counsel plays a critical role in ensuring compliance with legal requirements and protecting the insurer's rights in claims litigation. Question 33. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance policy analysis. Key terms and definitions in surplus lines policies. Scenario: MS Adams, an insurance agent in Hawaii, is reviewing a surplus lines insurance policy with a client. The policy contains a non-admitted clause. What does this mean for the insured? A. The insurer can deny any claim at their discretion. B. The insured must pay a higher premium for coverage. C. The insurer is not licensed in Hawaii, but coverage is still provided. D. The insured's coverage is guaranteed regardless of the circumstances. Answer: C. The insurer is not licensed in Hawaii, but coverage is still provided. Explanation: a non-admitted clause in a surplus lines insurance policy means that the insurer is not licensed in Hawaii, but coverage is still provided under certain circumstances. This allows insureds to obtain coverage for risks that admitted insurers may not be willing to cover. It does not mean that the insurer can deny claims at their discretion, option A, or that the insured must pay a higher premium, option B. Coverage under a non-admitted insurer is not guaranteed, option D. It is subject to the terms and conditions outlined in the policy. In Hawaii, surplus lines insurance provides an important market for risks that are not readily insurable through admitted insurers. Question 34. Introduction to surplus lines insurance. Definition and purpose of surplus lines insurance. What distinguishes surplus lines insurance from standard admitted insurance in Hawaii? A. Surplus lines insurance is cheaper for the insured. B. Surplus lines insurance covers risks that admitted insurers do not wish to cover. C. Surplus lines insurance is regulated by federal agencies only. D. Surplus lines insurance provides unlimited coverage for all types of risks. Answer: B. Surplus lines insurance covers risks that admitted insurers do not wish to cover. Explanation: surplus lines insurance in Hawaii covers risks that admitted insurers do not wish to cover due to their unique or high-risk nature. This includes risks such as unusual property types or locations, high liability risks, or emerging risks that may not yet have established insurance markets. Unlike standard admitted insurance, surplus lines insurance is not regulated by state insurance departments but by specific surplus lines laws and regulations. While it can provide coverage where admitted insurers decline, option B, it is not necessarily cheaper, option A, or unlimited, option D, in coverage scope. Understanding this distinction is crucial for agents and brokers dealing with specialized insurance needs in Hawaii. Question 35. Surplus lines insurance claims process. Overview of the claims handling process. What is the primary advantage of surplus lines insurance claims processing in Hawaii compared to standard admitted insurance? A. Faster settlement times. B. Lower premiums for insureds. C. Exemption from regulatory scrutiny. D. Higher coverage limits. Answer: D. Higher coverage limits. Explanation: one of the primary advantages of surplus lines insurance claims processing in Hawaii is the ability to provide higher coverage limits compared to standard admitted insurance. This flexibility allows insureds to obtain coverage for high-value risks or risks that exceed the limits offered by admitted insurers. While surplus lines insurance can sometimes offer faster settlements, option A, low premiums, option B, or exemptions from certain regulations, option C, the primary advantage lies in the ability to access higher coverage limits when necessary. This makes surplus lines insurance particularly attractive for businesses and individuals with substantial or unique insurance needs. Question 36. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement, releasing and documenting settlement agreements. Which statement best reflects the importance of documenting settlement agreements in surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii? A. Documentation ensures that the insurer cannot dispute the settlement later. B. Documentation protects the insurer against legal actions related to the settlement. C. Documentation provides transparency and clarity about the terms of the settlement. D. Documentation simplifies the claims process for the insurer. Answer. C. Documentation provides transparency and clarity about the terms of the settlement. Explanation. Documenting settlement agreements in surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii is crucial because it provides transparency and clarity about the terms agreed upon by both parties. This documentation helps prevent misunderstandings or disputes regarding the settlement and ensures that all parties involved understand their obligations. While documentation can provide legal protection, option B, and simplify the claims process, option D, its primary purpose is to establish transparency and clarity in the settlement process. This is essential for maintaining trust and compliance with regulatory requirements in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Hawaii. Question 37. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. Policy provisions and coverage limitations. What is a key characteristic of surplus lines insurance policies in Hawaii regarding coverage? A. They provide coverage for all types of risks, regardless of their nature. B. They are standardized and have uniform terms across all insurers. C. They can be customized to meet specific and unique insurance needs. D. They exclude coverage for all high-risk activities. Answer. C. They can be customized to meet specific and unique insurance needs. Explanation. A key characteristic of surplus lines insurance policies in Hawaii is their flexibility and ability to be customized to meet specific and unique insurance needs. Unlike standard admitted insurance policies, surplus lines policies can tailor coverage to address specialized risks or situations that are not typically covered by admitted insurers. This customization allows insureds to obtain coverage that matches their particular risk profile and business operations. While surplus lines policies can cover a wide range of risks, they are not universal, option A. They are also not standardized, option B, and do not universally exclude all high-risk activities, option D. Understanding this flexibility is crucial for agents and brokers handling surplus lines insurance in Hawaii. Question 38. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. Determining coverage and liability in surplus lines claims. When evaluating coverage and liability in surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii, what should claims adjusters primarily consider? A. The insured's financial history and credit score. B. The insurer's profitability and reserve levels. C. The terms and conditions specified in the insurance policy. D. The market value of similar claims in other states. Answer. C. The terms and conditions specified in the insurance policy. Explanation. When evaluating coverage and liability in surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii, claims adjusters should primarily consider the terms and conditions specified in the insurance policy. These provisions outline the scope of coverage, exclusions, and conditions under which the insurer will provide indemnity. Understanding and applying these terms accurately ensures that claims are evaluated fairly and in accordance with the policy contract. Factors such as the insured's financial history, option A, insurer's profitability, option B, and market values in other states, option D, may provide context but do not override the policy terms in determining coverage and liability. In Hawaii, adherence to policy provisions is essential for compliance and fair claims handling. Question 39. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims handling. Roles and responsibilities of key stakeholders in claims handling. Scenario. Mr. Williams is an insurance broker in Hawaii handling a complex surplus lines insurance claim for a commercial property. He is struggling to obtain necessary documents from the insured to proceed with the claim evaluation. What is Mr. Williams' best course of action? A. Delay the claim evaluation until the insured provides all requested documents. B. Advise the insured on the importance of providing timely documentation. C. Proceed with the claim evaluation using available information. D. Inform the insurer and terminate involvement in the claim. Answer. B. Advise the insured on the importance of providing timely documentation. Explanation. Mr. Williams' best course of action is to advise the insured on the importance of providing timely documentation for the claim. Clear communication with the insured about the documentation requirements can help expedite the claims process and ensure that all necessary information is obtained for an accurate evaluation. Delaying the claim, option A, or proceeding with incomplete information, option C, may lead to inaccuracies or delays in settlement. Terminating involvement, option D, is premature without attempting to resolve the issue first. In Hawaii, effective communication between insurance brokers and insureds is crucial for smooth claims handling and compliance with regulatory requirements. Question 40. Surplus lines insurance claims handling. Importance of effective communication and documentation. What role does effective communication play in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Hawaii? A. It ensures that claims are settled without the need for documentation. B. It helps in building trust and maintaining positive relationships with insureds. C. It reduces the need for regulatory compliance in claims handling. D. It speeds up the claims process by skipping investigation steps. Answer: B. It helps in building trust and maintaining positive relationships with insureds. Explanation: effective communication plays a crucial role in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Hawaii by fostering trust and maintaining positive relationships with insureds. Clear and transparent communication helps ensure that insureds understand the claims process, their rights, and the expected timeline for resolution. Building trust is essential for cooperative claims handling and can lead to smoother resolutions. While effective communication supports regulatory compliance, option C, and may streamline processes, option D, its primary benefit lies in establishing and maintaining positive relationships with insureds. Question 41. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Settlement options and alternatives. What is a common alternative to litigation in surplus lines insurance claims settlement in Hawaii? A. Arbitration. B. Mediation. C. Small claims court. D. Administrative hearings. Answer: B. Mediation. Explanation: a common alternative to litigation in surplus lines insurance claims settlement in Hawaii is mediation. Mediation involves a neutral third party facilitating negotiations between the insurer and the insured to reach a mutually agreeable settlement. It is a voluntary and confidential process aimed at resolving disputes without going to court. Arbitration, option A, is another alternative but involves a more formal process where a decision is made by an arbitrator. Small claims court, option C, and administrative hearings, option D, are formal legal proceedings that may be used for dispute resolution but are less commonly chosen alternatives in surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Question 42. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims investigation. Gathering and evaluating evidence in surplus lines claims. Scenario: MS. Roberts, the claims adjuster in Hawaii, is investigating a surplus lines insurance claim for fire damage to a residential property. During the investigation, she discovers conflicting statements between the insured and witnesses about the cause of the fire. What should MS. Roberts prioritize to resolve this conflict? A. Reaching a quick settlement to avoid further investigation. B. Conducting additional interviews to clarify the discrepancies. C. Relying on the insured's version of events as primary evidence. D. Seeking guidance from legal counsel before proceeding. Answer: B. Conducting additional interviews to clarify the discrepancies. Explanation: to resolve conflicting statements about the cause of the fire in a surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii, MS. Roberts should prioritize conducting additional interviews to clarify the discrepancies. Gathering more information and interviewing additional witnesses can help MS. Roberts uncover the truth and make an informed decision regarding the claim. Reaching a quick settlement, option A, without resolving discrepancies may lead to an inaccurate outcome. Relying solely on the insured's version, option C, could overlook critical details. While seeking guidance from legal counsel, option D, may be necessary in complex cases. Gathering additional evidence is essential for a thorough claims investigation. Question 43. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. Methods for evaluating the extent and value of a claim. What is the purpose of utilizing loss adjustment techniques and tools in surplus lines insurance claims evaluation in Hawaii? A. To deny claims based on minimal evidence. B. To accurately assess the extent and value of the claim. C. To expedite the claim settlement process without thorough evaluation. D. To shift liability to third parties involved in the claim. Answer: B. To accurately assess the extent and value of the claim. Explanation: the purpose of utilizing loss adjustment techniques and tools in surplus lines insurance claims evaluation in Hawaii is to accurately assess the extent and value of the claim. These techniques include assessing damage, determining liability, and estimating the financial impact of the claim on the insurer. Accuracy in evaluation helps ensure fair and appropriate settlements for insureds while maintaining financial prudence for insurers. Denying claims based on minimal evidence, option A, is not ethical or compliant with regulatory standards. Expedited settlement, option C, without thorough evaluation can lead to inaccuracies. Shifting liability, option D, should be based on factual findings, not adjustment techniques alone. Question 44. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. Providing documentation and evidence during litigation. In surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Hawaii, what role does providing documentation and evidence play? A. It ensures that litigation is avoided entirely. B. It establishes the insurer's legal defenses and supports their position. C. It guarantees a favorable outcome for the insured. D. It shifts responsibility to the insured for any claim-related issues. Answer: B. It establishes the insurer's legal defenses and supports their position. Explanation: providing documentation and evidence in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Hawaii plays a crucial role in establishing the insurer's legal defenses and supporting their position. Documentation helps demonstrate compliance with policy terms, investigation findings, and communication with insureds throughout the claims process. While strong evidence can support a favorable outcome, option C, it does not guarantee it, as litigation outcomes depend on various factors. Documentation aims to clarify the insurer's actions and decisions, minimizing liability. Option D, and ensuring transparency in legal proceedings. Question 45. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims settlement, negotiating and reaching a settlement agreement. Scenario: Ms. Taylor, an insurance claims manager in Hawaii, is negotiating a settlement for a surplus lines insurance claim involving extensive property damage. The insured is demanding a higher settlement than what Ms. Taylor believes is justified based on the policy terms and damage assessment. What should Ms. Taylor consider in this situation? A. Refuse to negotiate further and impose the insurer's preferred settlement amount. B. Consult with a legal counsel to determine the legality of the insured's demands. C. Review the policy terms, assessment reports, and any additional evidence thoroughly. D. Agree to the insured's demands to avoid potential litigation. Answer: C. Review the policy terms, assessment reports, and any additional evidence thoroughly. Explanation: in this situation, Ms. Taylor should prioritize reviewing the policy terms, assessment reports, and any additional evidence thoroughly. This ensures that the settlement offer aligns with the policy coverage and accurately reflects the extent of the damage assessed. Refusing to negotiate, option A, or agreeing to demands without thorough review, option D, can lead to unfair settlements and potential litigation. Consulting legal counsel, option B, may be necessary for complex issues but should follow a comprehensive review of all relevant documents. In Hawaii, adherence to policy terms and fair assessment practices is essential for effective claims settlement in surplus lines insurance. Question 46. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. Gathering and evaluating evidence in surplus lines claims. What is the significance of interviewing insureds, witnesses, and other parties involved in a surplus lines insurance claim investigation in Hawaii? A. To create delays in the claims process. B. To obtain first-hand accounts and gather relevant information. C. To intimidate the parties into accepting the insurer's position. D. To avoid documenting the investigation findings. Answer: B. To obtain first-hand accounts and gather relevant information. Explanation: interviewing insureds, witnesses, and other parties involved in a surplus lines insurance claim investigation in Hawaii is significant to obtain first-hand accounts and gather relevant information. This process helps in understanding the sequence of events, verifying details, and assessing the credibility of statements made. It contributes to a comprehensive investigation that supports accurate claims decision-making. Creating delays, option A, or intimidating parties, option C, are unethical practices and do not serve the purpose of a thorough investigation. Avoiding documentation, option D, contradicts regulatory requirements and best practices in claims handling. Question 47. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement, negotiating and reaching a settlement agreement. What ethical considerations should surplus lines claims professionals in Hawaii prioritize during the settlement negotiation process? A. Maximizing the insurer's profits through minimal settlement offers. B. Ensuring transparency, fairness, and compliance with policy terms. C. Promising future coverage benefits to secure immediate settlements. D. Pressuring insureds to accept settlements without understanding. Answer: B. Ensuring transparency, fairness, and compliance with policy terms. Explanation: surplus lines claims professionals in Hawaii should prioritize ensuring transparency, fairness, and compliance with policy terms during the settlement negotiation process. This includes clearly communicating the basis for the settlement offer, disclosing relevant information, and adhering to ethical standards. Maximizing profits, option A, or promising future benefits, option C, can compromise fairness and transparency. Pressuring insureds, option D, is unethical and may lead to disputes. Ethical negotiation practices uphold the integrity of the claims process and foster trust between insurers and insureds. Question 14. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims ethics. Ethical considerations in surplus lines claims handling. Scenario: Mr. Chang, an adjuster in Hawaii, is handling a complex surplus lines insurance claim. He receives a gift from the insured as a token of appreciation for expediting the claim process. What should Mr. Chang do in this situation? A. Accept the gift as a gesture of goodwill. B. Politely decline the gift and explain ethical guidelines prohibiting acceptance. C. Report the gift to his supervisor and seek guidance on how to proceed. D. Use the gift to negotiate a higher settlement for the insured. Answer: C. Report the gift to his supervisor and seek guidance on how to proceed. Explanation: in this situation, Mr. Chang should report the gift to his supervisor and seek guidance on how to proceed. Accepting gifts from insureds can create conflicts of interest and undermine the impartiality of the claims handling process. It is essential to adhere to ethical guidelines that prohibit acceptance of gifts that could influence professional judgment. Politely declining the gift, option B, is appropriate, but reporting it ensures transparency and compliance with ethical standards. Using the gift for personal gain, option D, is unethical and violates professional conduct guidelines. In Hawaii, maintaining integrity and ethical conduct is paramount in surplus lines insurance claims handling. Question 49. Introduction to surplus lines insurance. Key characteristics and advantages of surplus lines insurance. What is a key advantage of surplus lines insurance compared to standard admitted insurance in Hawaii? A. Lower premiums for insureds. B. Coverage for unique or high-risk exposures. C. Exemption from regulatory oversight. D. Unlimited coverage limits. Answer: B. Coverage for unique or high-risk exposures. Explanation: a key advantage of surplus lines insurance in Hawaii is its ability to provide coverage for unique or high-risk exposures that standard admitted insurers may not cover. Surplus lines insurers are not subject to the same regulatory requirements as admitted insurers, option C, but this does not imply exemption from regulatory oversight altogether. While coverage limits can be higher than those of admitted insurers, they are not unlimited, option D. The primary appeal of surplus lines insurance lies in its flexibility to insure risks that are outside the scope of admitted insurers, making it suitable for specialized insurance needs. Question 50. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. Interpreting policy language and exclusions. Why is it important for insurance professionals in Hawaii to carefully interpret policy language and exclusions in surplus lines insurance policies? A. To find loopholes for denying claims. B. To clarify coverage and exclusions for insureds. C. To expedite the claims process. D. To bypass regulatory requirements. Answer: B. To clarify coverage and exclusions for insureds. Explanation: carefully interpreting policy language and exclusions in surplus lines insurance policies in Hawaii is crucial to clarify coverage and exclusions for insureds. This helps insureds understand the scope of their coverage, potential limitations, and exclusions that may apply to their specific risks. It ensures transparency and helps prevent misunderstandings during claims handling. Seeking loopholes to deny claims, option A, or bypassing regulatory requirements, option D, is unethical and can lead to legal repercussions. While efficient claims handling, option C, is important, it should not compromise thorough policy interpretation and communication with insureds. Question 51. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. Professional standards and conduct for claims professionals. What is a critical aspect of maintaining professionalism in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Hawaii? A. Sharing confidential claim information with third parties. B. Using personal relationships to expedite claim approvals. C. Adhering to ethical guidelines and standards. D. Maximizing insurer profits at the expense of claimants. Answer: C. Adhering to ethical guidelines and standards. Explanation: maintaining professionalism in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Hawaii requires adhering to ethical guidelines and standards. This includes protecting confidential information, option A, avoiding conflicts of interest and ensuring fairness in claims processing, using personal relationships, option B, or prioritizing insurer profits, option D, over ethical considerations undermines professionalism and can lead to legal and reputational consequences. Upholding ethical standards fosters trust with insureds, regulatory compliance, and integrity in the insurance industry. Question 52. Surplus lines insurance claims process. Roles and responsibilities of key stakeholders in claims handling. What is the primary role of a surplus lines insurance broker in Hawaii during the claims handling process? A. To negotiate higher settlements for insureds. B. To facilitate communication between insureds and insurers. C. To delay the claims settlement process. D. To deny claims based on policy exclusions. Answer: B. To facilitate communication between insureds and insurers. Explanation: the primary role of a surplus lines insurance broker in Hawaii during the claims handling process is to facilitate communication between insureds and insurers. Brokers act as intermediaries who ensure that information flows smoothly between parties, helping insureds understand the claims process and assisting insurers in gathering necessary information. Negotiating settlements, option A, and denying claims, option D, are not typically within the broker's role. Delaying the claims process, option C, would be counterproductive to providing efficient claims service. Effective communication is essential for resolving claims efficiently and maintaining client relationships. Question 53. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation, determining coverage and liability in surplus lines claims. In surplus lines insurance claims evaluation in Hawaii, what does reserving refer to? A. Setting aside funds for potential claim payments. B. Reserving the right to deny claims based on policy interpretations. C. Reserving surplus lines policies for high-risk clients only. D. Reserving documents related to the claims process for auditing. Answer: A. Setting aside funds for potential claim payments. Explanation: in surplus lines insurance claims evaluation in Hawaii, reserving refers to setting aside funds by insurers to cover potential claim payments. This practice ensures that insurers have adequate financial resources available to fulfill their obligations under the policies. It involves estimating the amount that may be needed to settle claims based on initial assessments and ongoing investigations. Reserving is a critical aspect of financial management and regulatory compliance in the insurance industry, ensuring that insurers can meet their obligations to policyholders. Question 54. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims settlement options and alternative scenario. MS. Lee, a claims adjuster in Hawaii, is handling a surplus lines insurance claim involving a dispute over the valuation of damaged property. The insured and insurer are unable to reach a settlement through negotiations. What alternative dispute resolution method can MS. Lee recommend to resolve this dispute? A. Arbitration. B. Litigation in state court. C. Denial of the claim. D. Escalation to federal authorities. Answer: A. Arbitration. Explanation: in this scenario, MS. Lee can recommend arbitration as an alternative dispute resolution method to resolve the valuation dispute in the surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii. Arbitration involves a neutral third party making a binding decision based on evidence presented by both parties, offering a quicker and less formal alternative to litigation. It allows for a resolution outside of court while providing a structured process for settling disputes. Litigation, option B, involves resolving disputes through court proceedings, which may be more time-consuming and costly. Denial of the claim, option C, is not a resolution method but an outcome decision Escalation to federal authorities, option D, is typically unnecessary for valuation disputes in surplus lines claims. Question 55. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation techniques and best practices. What is a crucial aspect of conducting effective claims investigations in surplus lines insurance in Hawaii? A. Ignoring witness statements to expedite the process. B. Relying solely on automated tools for evidence collection. C. Documenting findings thoroughly and accurately. D. Conducting investigations without communicating with insureds. Answer: C. Documenting findings thoroughly and accurately. Explanation: in surplus lines insurance claims handling in Hawaii, documenting findings thoroughly and accurately is crucial for conducting effective claims investigations. Proper documentation helps establish the facts of the claim, support the decision-making process, and ensure transparency and compliance with regulatory requirements. Ignoring witness statements, option A, or relying solely on automated tools, option B, may lead to incomplete or inaccurate investigations. Conducting investigations without communicating with insureds, option D, can result in misunderstandings and delays. Thorough documentation is essential for claims adjusters to maintain integrity and professionalism throughout the claims handling process. Question 56. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Releasing and documenting settlement agreements. Why is it important to document settlement agreements in surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii? A. To prevent insureds from disputing the settlement amount. B. To comply with regulatory reporting requirements. C. To expedite future claims handling processes. D. To maintain confidentiality of settlement terms. Answer: B. To comply with regulatory reporting requirements. Explanation: in surplus lines insurance claims in Hawaii, it is important to document settlement agreements to comply with regulatory reporting requirements. Proper documentation ensures that all parties involved understand and agree to the terms of the settlement, which helps prevent disputes and provides a record for future reference. While documentation may facilitate compliance with confidentiality, option D, and claims handling efficiency, option C, regulatory compliance, option B, is paramount to ensure adherence to state laws and regulations governing surplus lines insurance. Documenting settlements accurately supports transparency and accountability in claims handling practices. Question 57. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims handling. Overview of the claims handling process. Scenario: Mr. Rodriguez, an insurance claims manager in Hawaii, is handling a surplus lines insurance claim involving significant property damage. The insured has provided incomplete documentation to support the claim. What should Mr. Rodriguez prioritize to move the claim forward? A. Deny the claim due to incomplete documentation. B. Request additional documentation from the insured. C. Proceed with the claim evaluation using available information. D. Advise the insured to hire a public adjuster. Answer: B. Request additional documentation from the insured. Explanation: in this scenario, Mr. Rodriguez should prioritize requesting additional documentation from the insured to support the surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii. Clear communication with the insured about the specific documentation required can help expedite the claims process and ensure thorough evaluation. Denying the claim, option A, outright without giving the insured an opportunity to provide necessary documentation is premature. Proceeding with incomplete information, option C, may lead to inaccurate claim assessments. Advising the insured to hire a public adjuster, option D, may be considered later but should follow efforts to obtain complete documentation from the insured. Question 58. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. Handling conflicts of interest in claims handling. What actions should surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii take to manage conflicts of interest effectively? A. Prioritize insurer interests over those of insureds. B. Disclose any potential conflicts of interest promptly. C. Avoid communicating with insureds directly. D. Manipulate claim reports to favor the insurer's position. Answer: B. Disclose any potential conflicts of interest promptly. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should disclose any potential conflicts of interest promptly to manage them effectively. This includes situations where personal interests or relationships could influence impartial claims handling. Prioritizing insurer interests, option A, without regard for insureds undermines fairness and professionalism. Avoiding direct communication with insureds, option C, hinders transparency and effective claims management. Manipulating claim reports, option D, violates ethical standards and regulatory requirements. Prompt disclosure allows for transparency and appropriate steps to mitigate conflicts of interest. Question 59. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. Understanding surplus lines insurance policies. What distinguishes surplus lines insurance policies from standard admitted insurance policies in Hawaii? A. Surplus lines policies are regulated by federal laws only. B. Surplus lines insurers are exempt from licensing requirements. C. Surplus lines policies cover risks that standard insurers won't accept. D. Surplus lines policies offer unlimited coverage amounts. Answer: C. Surplus lines policies cover risks that standard insurers won't accept. Explanation: a distinguishing feature of surplus lines insurance policies in Hawaii is that they cover risks that standard insurers typically won't accept. This flexibility allows surplus lines insurers to provide coverage for unique or high-risk exposures that do not fit within standard underwriting guidelines. While surplus lines insurers may be subject to federal laws, option A, they still need to comply with state-specific regulations. They are not exempt from licensing requirements, option B, and do not offer unlimited coverage amounts, option D, as coverage limits are typically based on the insurer's financial capacity and risk assessment. Question 60. Surplus lines insurance claims process. Overview of the claims handling process. What is the primary objective of the claims handling process in surplus lines insurance in Hawaii? A. To delay claim payments as long as possible. B. To investigate and evaluate claims fairly and promptly. C. To deny all claims to minimize insurer liabilities. D. To expedite settlements without proper evaluation. Answer: B. To investigate and evaluate claims fairly and promptly. Explanation: the primary objective of the claims handling process in surplus lines insurance in Hawaii is to investigate and evaluate claims fairly and promptly. This ensures that insureds receive timely resolution and accurate assessment of their claims. Delaying claim payments, option A, or denying all claims, option C, without proper evaluation goes against ethical and regulatory standards. While expediting settlements, option D, is important, it should not compromise the thorough investigation and evaluation required for fair claims handling. Insurers are obligated to handle claims in good faith and in accordance with state laws and regulations. Question 61. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Negotiating and reaching a settlement agreement. What factors should surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii consider when negotiating a settlement agreement? A. Maximizing insurer profits at the expense of insureds. B. Balancing fairness, policy coverage, and legal liabilities. C. Accepting the insured's initial settlement demand without review. D. Denying claims based on minimal evidence to reduce costs. Answer: B. Balancing fairness, policy coverage, and legal liabilities. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should consider balancing fairness, policy coverage, and legal liabilities when negotiating a settlement agreement. This involves evaluating the extent of policy coverage applicable to the claim, assessing legal liabilities based on investigation findings, and ensuring fairness in the settlement process. Maximizing insurer profits, option A, at the expense of insureds is unethical and can lead to legal repercussions. Accepting initial settlement demands without review, option C, may overlook important considerations. Denying claims based on minimal evidence, option D, does not align with thorough claims evaluation and fairness in settlement negotiations. Question 62. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. Understanding the litigation process in surplus lines claims. What role does legal counsel play in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Hawaii? A. Ensuring denial of all claims to minimize insurer liabilities. B. Providing guidance on legal strategy in representing the insurer in court. C. Delaying the litigation process to avoid settlement payments. D. Coercing insureds into accepting unfavorable settlement terms. Answer: B. Providing guidance on legal strategy and representing the insurer in court. Explanation: legal counsel in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Hawaii plays a crucial role in providing guidance on legal strategy and representing the insurer in court. They help formulate defenses, navigate complex legal issues, and advocate for the insurer's interests in litigation proceedings. Ensuring denial of all claims, option A, or delaying litigation, option C, are not appropriate roles for legal counsel and do not serve the best interests of the insurer or insureds. Coercing insureds, option D, into accepting unfavorable terms is unethical and could lead to legal consequences. Legal counsel's role is critical in ensuring fair and lawful outcomes in surplus lines claims litigation. Question 63. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims handling. Roles and responsibilities of key stakeholders in claims handling. Scenario: MS. Martinez, an insurance broker in Hawaii, is assisting a client with a surplus lines insurance claim. The client is dissatisfied with the initial settlement offer and is considering litigation. What role should MS Martinez play in this situation? A. Advise the client to accept the settlement to avoid further delays. B. Facilitate communication between the client and the insurer. C. Represent the insurer's interests in litigation proceedings. D. Encourage the client to bypass legal counsel for faster resolution. Answer: B. Facilitate communication between the client and the insurer. Explanation: in this scenario, MS Martinez should play a role in facilitating communication between the client and the insurer to address the dissatisfaction with the initial settlement offer in the surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii. As an insurance broker, her role is to advocate for the client's interests and ensure that communication channels are open and effective. Advising the client to accept the settlement offer, option A, without review or representation may not serve the client's best interests. Representing the insurer's interests, option C, would be a conflict of interest for MS Martinez. Encouraging the client to bypass legal counsel, option D, could compromise the client's legal rights and the outcome of the claim. Facilitating communication supports transparency and helps in resolving disputes effectively. Question 64. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation, interviewing insureds, witnesses, and other parties involved. Why is it important for surplus lines insurance claims adjusters in Hawaii to interview insureds, witnesses, and other parties involved in the claim? A. To delay the claims process and increase costs. B. To gather first-hand information and assess claim validity. C. To intimidate parties into accepting lower settlements. D. To avoid documenting the investigation findings. Answer: B. To gather first-hand information and assess claim validity. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims adjusters in Hawaii interview insureds, witnesses, and other parties involved in the claim to gather first-hand information and assess the validity of the claim. This process helps in understanding the circumstances surrounding the claim, verifying facts, and making informed decisions based on the evidence collected. Deliberately delaying the claims process, option A, intimidating parties, option C, or avoiding documentation, option D, about unethical practices that compromise the integrity of the claims investigation. Gathering first-hand information ensures thoroughness and fairness in claims handling, aligning with regulatory requirements and ethical standards. Question 65. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. Methods for evaluating the extent and value of a claim. What methods do surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii use to evaluate the extent and value of a claim? A. Ignoring evidence and relying on assumptions. B. Utilizing expert opinions and loss adjustment techniques. C. Estimating without considering policy terms. D. Accepting insured self-reported claim values. Answer: B. Utilizing expert opinions and loss adjustment techniques. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii utilize expert opinions and loss adjustment techniques to evaluate the extent and value of a claim accurately. Experts provide specialized knowledge in assessing damage, determining causation, and estimating costs based on industry standards and best practices. Ignoring evidence, option A, or relying solely on assumptions can lead to inaccurate claim evaluations. Estimating without considering policy terms, option C, may result in disputes over coverage. Accepting insured self-reported claim values, option D, without verification can compromise the integrity of the claims process. Expert opinions and loss adjustment techniques support thorough and fair evaluations, ensuring proper claim resolution. Question 66. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. Ethical considerations in surplus lines claims handling. What ethical considerations should surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii prioritize during the claims handling process? A. Favoring insurer interests over those of insureds. B. Maintaining confidentiality of claim information. C. Denying all claims to reduce insurer liabilities. D. Expediting claims without thorough evaluation. Answer: B. Maintaining confidentiality of claim information. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should prioritize maintaining the confidentiality of claim information during the claims handling process. This includes protecting sensitive information related to the insured's claim and ensuring that only authorized individuals have access to pertinent details. Favoring insurer interests, option A, over those of insureds can lead to conflict of interest. Denying all claims, option C, without proper evaluation goes against ethical and legal obligations. Expediting claims, option D, without thorough evaluation may compromise the accuracy and fairness of claim decisions. Protecting confidentiality fosters trust with insureds and upholds professional standards in claims handling. Question 67. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. Policy provisions and coverage limitations. What should surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii focus on when reviewing policy provisions and coverage limitations? A. Maximizing insurer profitability by denying claims. B. Interpreting policy language to determine coverage. C. Avoiding communication with insureds. D. Ignoring regulatory requirements. Answer: B. Interpreting policy language to determine coverage. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should focus on interpreting policy language to determine coverage when reviewing policy provisions and limitations. This involves understanding the specific terms, conditions, and exclusions outlined in the policy to assess whether the claim falls within the scope of coverage. Maximizing insurer profitability, option A, through claim denials disregards the fair handling of claims. Avoiding communication with insureds, option C, impedes transparency and proper claims management. Ignoring regulatory requirements, option D, can lead to non-compliance issues. Interpreting policy language ensures accurate claim decisions based on the contractual obligations between the insurer and insured. Question 68. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims handling. Importance of effective communication and documentation. Scenario: Mr. Anderson, a claims adjuster in Hawaii, is handling a surplus lines insurance claim involving substantial property damage. The insured has provided conflicting information during the initial investigation. What steps should Mr. Anderson take to resolve this issue effectively? A. Deny the claim due to inconsistencies. B. Document all communications and findings. C. Proceed with claim payment without further investigation. D. Request the insured to find additional witnesses. Answer: B. Document all communications and findings. Explanation: in this scenario, Mr. Anderson should document all communications and findings to resolve the issue effectively in the surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii. Documenting discrepancies and gathering additional information helps clarify the facts surrounding the claim, ensuring a thorough and fair investigation. Denying the claim, option A, without addressing inconsistencies may overlook relevant details. Proceeding with claim payment, option C, without further investigation could lead to erroneous decisions. Requesting additional witnesses, option D, may be appropriate but should be based on the assessment of existing evidence and communication efforts. Effective documentation supports transparency and accountability in claims handling processes. Question 69. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. Working with legal counsel in litigation. What role does legal counsel play in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Hawaii? A. Guaranteeing favorable outcomes for insurers. B. Providing advice on legal strategy and representing insurers. C. Delaying litigation to avoid settlement payments. D. Ignoring procedural rules in court proceedings. Answer: B. Providing advice on legal strategy and representing insurers. Explanation: legal counsel in surplus lines insurance claims litigation in Hawaii plays a critical role in providing advice on legal strategy and representing insurers in court. They assist in preparing defenses, navigating legal complexities, and advocating for the insurer's interests throughout litigation proceedings. While legal counsel aims to achieve favorable outcomes, option A, their primary role is to ensure compliance with legal standards and procedural rules. Delaying litigation, option C, or ignoring procedural rules, option D, would be contrary to legal ethics and could lead to adverse consequences. Effective collaboration with legal counsel supports informed decisions and lawful outcomes in surplus lines claims litigation. Question 70. Surplus lines insurance claims process. Compliance with regulatory requirements in claims handling. What are the regulatory requirements surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii must adhere to during the claims handling process? A. Ignoring state regulations to expedite claims. B. Complying with fair claims practices and consumer protection laws. C. Avoiding communication with insureds. D. Accepting claims without investigation. Answer: B. Complying with fair claims practices and consumer protection laws. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii must adhere to regulatory requirements, including complying with fair claims practices and consumer protection laws. These regulations ensure that insureds receive fair treatment during the claims process and are protected from unfair practices. Ignoring state regulations, option A, or avoiding communication with insureds, option C, can lead to regulatory violations and legal issues. Accepting claims without investigation, option D, disregards the duty to assess claim validity. Compliance with fair practices and laws upholds ethical standards and regulatory obligations in surplus lines claims handling. Question 71. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. Utilizing loss adjustment techniques and tools. What tools or techniques can surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii use to assess the financial impact of claims? A. Ignoring expert opinions and third-party evaluations. B. Utilizing software for claims valuation and estimation. C. Disregarding policy limits and exclusions. D. Accepting insured's estimates without verification. Answer: B. Utilizing software for claims valuation and estimation. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii can use software for claims valuation and estimation to assess the financial impact of claims accurately. This tool helps in calculating costs, considering policy limits, and analyzing various scenarios to determine the claim's financial implications. Ignoring expert opinions, option A, or third-party evaluations undermines the thoroughness of claim assessments. Disregarding policy limits, option C, can lead to incorrect financial evaluations. Accepting insured's estimates, option D, without verification may result in inflated claim costs. Utilizing software enhances efficiency and accuracy in claims evaluation, ensuring adherence to industry standards and regulatory requirements. Question 72. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims settlement. Settlement options and alternatives. Scenario: MS. Taylor, an insurance broker in Hawaii, is assisting a client with a surplus lines insurance claim. The insurer has made a settlement offer that the client finds insufficient. What advice should MS. Taylor provide to her client? A. Accept the settlement offer to avoid further delays. B. Negotiate with the insurer for a higher settlement amount. C. Withdraw the claim and seek coverage elsewhere. D. Litigate immediately without further negotiation. Answer: B. Negotiate with the insurer for a higher settlement amount. Explanation: in this scenario, MS. Taylor should advise her client to negotiate with the insurer for a higher settlement amount in the surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii. Negotiation allows both parties to discuss and adjust the settlement offer based on the merits of the claim and applicable policy provisions. Accepting the initial offer, option A, without negotiation may not reflect the full extent of the claim's value. Withdrawing the claim, option C, prematurely could forfeit potential coverage. Litigating immediately, option D, is typically considered after negotiation attempts fail. Advising negotiation supports efforts to reach a fair resolution and maximize the client's entitlements under the policy terms and conditions. Question 73. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. Professional standards and conduct for claims professionals. What are some key professional standards that surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should adhere to? A. Manipulating evidence to support claim denials. B. Maintaining honesty and integrity in all communications. C. Exceeding claim settlement authority without approval. D. Ignoring insured's requests for claim updates. Answer: B. Maintaining honesty and integrity in all communications. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should adhere to professional standards that prioritize maintaining honesty and integrity in all communications. This includes providing accurate information to insureds, stakeholders, and regulatory authorities throughout the claims handling process. Manipulating evidence, option A, or exceeding settlement authority, option C, without approval can lead to ethical and legal violations. Ignoring insured's requests for updates, option D, undermines transparency and customer service. Honesty and integrity foster trust, uphold industry credibility, and promote fair treatment of insureds in surplus lines claims handling. Question 74. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement, releasing and documenting settlement agreements. Why is it important for surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii to release and document settlement agreements? A. To conceal settlement terms from insureds. B. To comply with regulatory reporting requirements. C. To expedite the claims handling process. D. To avoid legal repercussions. Answer: B. To comply with regulatory reporting requirements. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should release and document settlement agreements to comply with regulatory reporting requirements. Proper documentation ensures transparency and accountability in the claims settlement process, providing a record of the agreed-upon terms and conditions between the insurer and insured. Concealing settlement terms, option A, violates transparency standards and can lead to legal disputes, while documenting settlements, option C, may expedite claims handling. Compliance with regulatory requirements, option B, is paramount to adhere to state laws and regulations governing surplus lines insurance. Documenting settlements accurately protects both parties and supports ethical claims handling practices. Question 75. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims handling. Overview of the claims handling process scenario. Mr. Thompson, a claims adjuster in Hawaii, is handling a surplus lines insurance claim for property damage. The insured has submitted all required documentation, but the claim remains unresolved beyond the standard processing time. What actions should Mr. Thompson take to expedite the claim while ensuring thoroughness? A. Delay further communications with the insured. B. Request additional time from regulatory authorities. C. Keep the insured informed of the claim status. D. Proceed with claim denial due to processing delay. Answer: C. Keep the insured informed of the claim status. Explanation: in this scenario, Mr. Thompson should keep the insured informed of the claim status to expedite the surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii while ensuring thoroughness. Clear communication fosters transparency and reassures the insured that their claim is being actively processed. Delaying communications, option A, may lead to dissatisfaction and misunderstandings. Requesting additional time, option B, should only be done when necessary and communicated appropriately. Proceeding with claim denial, option D, without valid grounds can result in disputes and regulatory scrutiny. Keeping the insured informed maintains trust and supports effective claims management practices. Question 76. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. Gathering and evaluating evidence in claims. What are the best practices for surplus lines insurance claims adjusters in Hawaii when gathering and evaluating evidence? A. Relying solely on insured statements without verification. B. Documenting all evidence and investigation findings. C. Ignoring witness testimonies to expedite the process. D. Proceeding with claims payment without evidence. Answer: B. Documenting all evidence and investigation findings. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims adjusters in Hawaii should adhere to best practices by documenting all evidence and investigation findings when handling claims. This includes gathering witness testimonies, collecting documentation, and recording observations to support claim decisions. Relying solely on insured statements, option A, without verification can lead to inaccurate assessments. Ignoring witness testimonies, option C, undermines thoroughness in investigations. Proceeding with claims payment, option D, without sufficient evidence compromises the integrity of the claims process. Documenting evidence ensures transparency, facilitates accurate decision-making, and supports compliance with regulatory standards. Question 77. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. Determining coverage and liability in claims. How do surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii determine coverage and liability in complex claim scenarios? A. Ignoring policy exclusions to maximize claim payouts. B. Analyzing policy language and conducting thorough investigations. C. Settling claims without consulting legal counsel. D. Accepting insured's assertions without verification. Answer: B. Analyzing policy language and conducting thorough investigations. Explanation: Surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii determine coverage and liability in complex claims scenarios by analyzing policy language and conducting thorough investigations. This involves interpreting policy provisions, assessing evidence, and evaluating the circumstances surrounding the claim to make informed decisions. Ignoring policy exclusions, option A, can lead to improper claim payments. Settling claims without legal counsel, option C, may overlook legal implications. Accepting insured's assertions, option D, without verification compromises the accuracy of claim assessments. Analyzing policy language and conducting thorough investigations ensure compliance with contractual obligations and regulatory requirements. Question 78. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims settlement, negotiating and reaching a settlement agreement. Scenario: MS Johnson, an insurance broker in Hawaii, is assisting a client with a surplus lines insurance claim. The insurer has offered the settlement that the client feels is inadequate. What steps should MS Johnson take to negotiate a fair settlement? A. Encourage the client to accept the initial offer to avoid delays. B. Gather additional evidence to support the claim's value. C. Advise the client to threaten litigation immediately. D. Ignore the client's dissatisfaction and proceed with settlement. Answer: B. Gather additional evidence to support the claim's value. Explanation: in this scenario, MS Johnson should gather additional evidence to support the claims of value when negotiating a fair settlement for the surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii. This includes obtaining expert opinions, documenting damages, and presenting factual information to justify the client's position. Encouraging the client to accept the initial offer, option A, without negotiation may result in undervalued settlements. Advising immediate litigation threats, option C, should be considered as a last resort after negotiation attempts. Ignoring the client's dissatisfaction, option D, undermines client advocacy and may lead to trust issues. Gathering additional evidence supports informed negotiations and enhances the likelihood of reaching a fair and equitable settlement. Question 79. Surplus lines insurance claims settlement, settlement options and alternatives. What factors should surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii consider when evaluating settlement options? A. Ignoring insured's preferences to expedite closure. B. Balancing insurer's financial exposure and insured's needs. C. Denying claims based on minimal evidence to reduce costs. D. Settling claims without reviewing policy coverage. Answer: B. Balancing insurer's financial exposure and insured's needs. Explanation: Surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should consider balancing the insurer's financial exposure and insured's needs when evaluating settlement options. This involves assessing the claim's validity, policy coverage, and the financial impact on both parties to achieve a fair and equitable settlement. Ignoring insured's preferences, option A, disregards customer satisfaction and may lead to dissatisfaction. Denying claims based on minimal evidence, option C, lacks thorough evaluation and may result in legal repercussions. Settling claims without reviewing policy coverage, option D, can lead to improper settlements. Balancing financial exposure and insured's needs supports fair claims resolution and regulatory compliance. Question 80. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. Providing documentation and evidence. Why is it important for surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii to provide documentation and evidence during litigation? A. To conceal information from legal scrutiny. B. To support legal defenses and factual assertions. C. To avoid complying with court orders. D. To delay the litigation process indefinitely. Answer: B. To support legal defenses and factual assertions. Explanation: Surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should provide documentation and evidence during litigation to support legal defenses and factual assertions. This includes presenting relevant information, records, and testimonies to substantiate the insurer's position and legal arguments. Concealing information, option A, undermines transparency and can lead to adverse legal outcomes. Avoiding court orders, option C, or delaying litigation, option D, disregards legal responsibilities and may result in penalties. Providing documentation supports the integrity of legal proceedings, ensures compliance with court requirements, and strengthens the insurer's defense in surplus lines claims litigation. Question 81. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims handling. Overview of the claims handling process. Scenario: Mr. Lee, a claims adjuster in Hawaii, is handling a surplus lines insurance claim for a commercial property. The insured has submitted extensive documentation, but there are discrepancies in the information provided. What steps should Mr. Lee take to resolve these discrepancies effectively? A. Ignore the discrepancies and proceed with claim denial. B. Request additional clarification and documentation from the insured. C. Delay communication with the insured to avoid conflict. D. Accept the claim without further investigation. Answer. B. Request additional clarification and documentation from the insured. Explanation. In this scenario, Mr. Lee should request additional clarification and documentation from the insured to resolve discrepancies effectively in the surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii. This involves communicating with the insured to clarify conflicting information, gathering supplementary evidence, and ensuring completeness in the claims review process. Ignoring discrepancies, option A, may lead to improper claim denials. Delaying communication, option C, can exacerbate misunderstandings and prolong the claims process. Accepting the claim without further investigation, option D, overlooks the need for accurate assessment. Requesting additional clarification supports thoroughness and fairness in claims handling, aligning with regulatory requirements and professional standards. Question 82. Surplus lines insurance policy analysis. Key terms and definitions in surplus lines policies. What role do key terms and definitions play in surplus lines insurance policies for claims professionals in Hawaii? A. Ignoring policy terms to expedite claim processing. B. Interpreting coverage based on policy language. C. Disregarding exclusions to maximize payouts. D. Accepting insured's assertions without review. Answer. B. Interpreting coverage based on policy language. Explanation. Surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii must interpret coverage based on policy language and key terms. Understanding definitions and terms clarifies the scope of coverage and exclusions, ensuring accurate claim assessment. Ignoring policy terms, option A, can lead to misinterpretation and improper claim handling. Disregarding exclusions, option C, disregards contractual obligations and may result in unjustified payouts. Accepting insured's assertions, option D, without review compromises the thoroughness of claims investigation. Interpreting policy language aligns with regulatory requirements and supports fair claims practices in surplus lines insurance. Question 83. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. Ethical considerations in claims handling. Why is maintaining confidentiality essential for surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii? A. To manipulate claim information for personal gain. B. To protect sensitive information and privacy rights. C. To delay claims processing unnecessarily. D. To avoid communicating with insureds. Answer. B. To protect sensitive information and privacy rights. Explanation. Maintaining confidentiality is essential for surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii to protect sensitive information and privacy rights of insureds and other stakeholders. Safeguarding confidential information prevents unauthorized disclosure and upholds ethical standards in claims handling. Manipulating information, option A, for personal gain violates trust and legal obligations. Delaying claims processing, option C, without valid reasons compromises customer service and regulatory compliance. Avoiding communication, option D, impedes transparency and fairness in claims management. Protecting confidentiality fosters trust, complies with privacy laws, and supports professional conduct in surplus lines insurance. Question 84. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. Methods for evaluating the extent and value of a claim. Scenario: MS. Roberts, an insurance adjuster in Hawaii, is evaluating a surplus lines insurance claim for significant property damage. The insured has provided conflicting evidence about the cause of damage. What steps should MS. Roberts take to assess the claim accurately? A. Ignore the conflicting evidence and proceed with denial. B. Conduct a thorough investigation and consult experts. C. Accept the insured's explanation without verification. D. Delay communication with the insured to review evidence. Answer. B. Conduct a thorough investigation and consult experts. Explanation. In this scenario, MS. Roberts should conduct a thorough investigation and consult experts to assess the surplus lines insurance claim accurately in Hawaii. This involves gathering additional evidence, verifying conflicting information, and considering expert opinions to determine causation and coverage. Ignoring conflicting evidence option A may lead to unjustified claim denials. Accepting the insured's explanation option C without verification compromises the integrity of the claims process. Delaying communication option D without valid reasons can prolong resolution. Conducting a thorough investigation and consulting experts support informed decision-making and ensure compliance with regulatory standards in surplus lines claims handling. Question 85. Surplus lines insurance claims investigation. Claims investigation techniques and best practices. What are the key techniques and best practices surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should employ during claims investigation? A. Ignoring witness statements to expedite the process. B. Gathering relevant evidence and documentation. C. Delaying communication with insureds. D. Accepting claims without verification. Answer: B. Gathering relevant evidence and documentation. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should employ key techniques such as gathering relevant evidence and documentation during claims investigation. This involves collecting witness statements, reviewing policy terms, and documenting findings to support claim decisions. Ignoring witness statements option A undermines thoroughness in investigations. Delaying communication option C can lead to misunderstandings and delays. Accepting claims without verification option D risks inaccurate claim assessments. Gathering evidence ensures comprehensive evaluation, supports factual analysis, and aligns with regulatory requirements in surplus lines claims handling. Question 86. Surplus lines insurance claims ethics and professionalism. Handling conflicts of interest. How should surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii handle conflicts of interest during claims handling? A. Disclose conflicts and prioritize personal interests. B. Avoid disclosing conflicts to insureds. C. Ignore conflicts to expedite claim processing. D. Prioritize insurers' interests without disclosure. Answer: A. Disclose conflicts and prioritize personal interests. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should handle conflicts of interest by disclosing conflicts and prioritizing personal interests. This involves transparently disclosing any potential conflicts to insureds and stakeholders, maintaining impartiality, and ensuring decisions are based on fair and objective assessments. Avoiding disclosure option B undermines transparency and trust. Ignoring conflicts option C compromises ethical standards and may lead to biased decisions. Prioritizing insurers' interests option D without disclosure can result in perceived unfairness and legal implications. Disclosing conflicts and prioritizing personal interests uphold integrity, promote fairness, and support ethical conduct in surplus lines claims handling. Question 87. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims settlement, releasing and documenting settlement agreements. Scenario: Mr. Chang, an insurance broker in Hawaii, is negotiating a surplus lines insurance claim settlement for his client. The insurer has offered the settlement amount that is slightly below the client's expectations. What advice should Mr. Chang provide to his client? A. Accept the offer to avoid further negotiations. B. Reject the offer and threaten immediate litigation. C. Counteroffer with supporting documentation. D. Ignore the offer and delay settlement discussions. Answer: C. Counteroffer with supporting documentation. Explanation: in this scenario, Mr. Chang should advise his client to counteroffer with supporting documentation when negotiating a surplus lines insurance claim settlement in Hawaii. This includes providing additional evidence, justification for the client's position, and proposing a reasonable adjustment to the settlement amount. Accepting the offer option A without negotiation may undervalue the claim. Threatening immediate litigation option B should be considered only after negotiation attempts fail. Ignoring the offer option D delays resolution and may strain insurer-client relationships. Counteroffering with documentation demonstrates preparation, supports fair negotiations, and aims to achieve a mutually acceptable settlement. Question 88. Surplus lines insurance claims evaluation. Reserving and estimating claim costs. What factors should surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii consider when reserving and estimating claim costs? A. Underestimating costs to expedite claims closure. B. Assessing policy limits and coverage adequacy. C. Ignoring expert opinions on claim valuation. D. Accepting initial estimates without review. Answer: B. Assessing policy limits and coverage adequacy. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should consider assessing policy limits and coverage adequacy when reserving and estimating claim costs. This involves reviewing policy provisions, evaluating claim documentation, and considering potential liabilities to ensure accurate cost estimations. Underestimating costs, option A, may lead to financial inaccuracies and improper fund allocations. Ignoring expert opinions, option C, disregards specialized knowledge and industry standards. Accepting initial estimates, option D, without review can result in inadequate fund allocations. Assessing policy limits and coverage adequacy supports prudent financial planning, compliance with regulatory requirements, and fair claims settlement in surplus lines insurance. Question 89. Surplus lines insurance claims litigation. Working with legal counsel. Why is it important for surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii to collaborate with legal counsel during claims litigation? A. To delay legal proceedings indefinitely. B. To ensure compliance with court orders and procedures. C. To withhold information from legal scrutiny. D. To avoid disclosing litigation risks to insureds. Answer: B. To ensure compliance with court orders and procedures. Explanation: surplus lines insurance claims professionals in Hawaii should collaborate with legal counsel during claims litigation to ensure compliance with court orders and procedures. This includes navigating legal complexities, interpreting statutes, and presenting evidence effectively in court. Delaying legal proceedings, option A, without justification can lead to penalties and legal consequences. Withholding information, option C, compromises transparency and legal integrity. Avoiding disclosure of risks, option D, may hinder informed decision-making by insureds. Collaborating with legal counsel facilitates adherence to legal standards, protects the insurer's interests, and enhances the efficiency of surplus lines claims litigation. Question 90. Scenario-based question on surplus lines insurance claims investigation. Interviewing insureds, witnesses, and other parties. Scenario: MS Martinez, a claims adjuster in Hawaii, is investigating a surplus lines insurance claim involving multiple parties. The insured and witnesses provide conflicting statements about the incident. What approach should MS Martinez take to reconcile these conflicting statements? A. Accept the insured's version without verification. B. Conduct separate interviews to clarify discrepancies. C. Delay further investigation to avoid conflicts. D. Ignore witness statements to expedite resolution. Answer: B. Conduct separate interviews to clarify discrepancies. Explanation: in this scenario, MS Martinez should conduct separate interviews with the insured and witnesses to clarify discrepancies in the surplus lines insurance claim in Hawaii. This approach involves gathering additional information, probing inconsistencies, and seeking corroborating evidence to establish factual accuracy. Accepting the insured's version, option A, without verification risks biased conclusions. Delaying investigation, option C, compromises timely resolution and may escalate disputes. Ignoring witness statements, option D, undermines thoroughness and may lead to inaccurate findings. Conducting separate interviews promotes objective assessments, supports fair claims handling practices, and enhances credibility in the investigation process.